Hello everyone and welcome to ecosistant. If you sell as an online retailer in Europe, there's no way around EPR. Packaging, electronics, W3E, batteries, clothing and textiles. Depending on your product range and the countries you sell to, a wide range of obligations can quickly arise. The tricky part is that many mistakes don't happen intentionally, but because details often differ from country to country, and especially when you're dealing with the topic for the first time, it can all seem quite confusing. So I took the liberty of tapping into the knowledge of our experts at ecosistant and asked them which mistakes occur most frequently. Today I'll show you 5 typical EPR mistakes that we see again and again in practice, and most importantly, how you can avoid them so that EPR doesn't turn into a constant project and constant source of frustration. By the end, you'll have a simple checklist in mind: categories, materials, deadlines, labeling, B2B and B2C. And along the way, I'll also show you how you can tap into the knowledge of our experts as well. So let's get started right away. Intro, please take it away. Let's start with some context, why this matters. At its core, EPR is designed to be fair. Anyone who places products and packaging on the market contributes to recycling and disposal costs. So far, so understandable. For retailers, however, this means registrations, licensing, volume reporting, and sometimes labeling requirements. And these often differ from country to country. This can be quite confusing and also fairly time-consuming. The good news is, with a clear system in place, it's very manageable. And that's exactly where ecosistant comes in. We help you correctly classify your obligations for each destination country, document everything properly, and implement requirements on time. And with our premium service, we can even take care of the registration process entirely if you wish. But more on this later. Let's move on to the first of the most common EPR mistakes. Mistake 1. Incorrect product and packaging categories. The first classic mistake: categories are chosen too broadly or incorrectly. In some countries, you need to report several packaging categories, and for W3E, batteries, furniture or textiles, each country may have its own product categories. Why does this matter? So that your reports are correct and you avoid follow-up questions or corrections, and because categories can have different cost structures. Let's look at packaging as an example. We often see confusion between the following categories: sales packaging, packaging that is directly attached to the product and protects it until sale or use, also known as primary packaging. Examples include a shampoo bottle or a cereal box. Group packaging, packaging that groups several products together, for example for bundles or presentation. Examples include cosmetic gift boxes or bottles packaged together in a beverage carton. Transport packaging, packaging that protects goods during transport and facilitates handling. These are usually not intended for end consumers, but used for transport between warehouses. Examples include disposable pallets or stretch film securing goods on pallets. And e-commerce shipping packaging, typically the shipping carton or envelope used to send orders. Depending on the country, this may be reported together with sales packaging or as a separate category. In any case, make sure to track shipping packaging separately and by material, so you won't run into issues later when reporting. How to avoid this mistake? Define clear internal definitions. A simple one-pager is enough. Assign categories per destination country and don't assume everything works the same across the EU, because it absolutely does not. If you're unsure, classify everything properly once and things will remain clear and manageable in the future. At ecosistant, you receive an overview for each country showing which categories are relevant and what to watch out for, with special waste streams such as W3E, batteries, furniture and more. So that wasn't too bad, right? Let's move on. Mistake 2. Recording material categories inaccurately. The second mistake happens especially often at the beginning. Materials are estimated roughly or lumped together. For packaging, however, reporting is based on material types, such as paper and cardboard, plastic, glass, metal, and so on. These must often be specified using alphanumeric material codes, for example, PAP21, PET1, etc. If materials are mixed together, things quickly become difficult later on. Corrections, follow-up questions, new evaluations, and lots of annoying rework. That's why the rule is simple: a clean data foundation from the start saves time, money, and headaches. How to do it properly? And don't worry, we'll keep it practical. Weigh each material individually, not just total packaging as one value. Document values in kilograms with at least 2 decimal places. And create a central overview. What volumes do I place on the market per country and per waste stream? As you can see, EPR requires quite a bit of precision, pretty precise actually. Which brings us to mistake 3, missing reporting deadlines. Now we're getting operational. Deadlines. Every country works differently. Reports may be due annually, semi-annually, quarterly, or even monthly. And this is exactly where many retailers stumble, because internally they don't gather the data in time. Here's a very simple system to avoid this without much effort. Establish an ongoing data collection process, for example, a monthly export from your shop, ERP or shipping tool. Define a responsible person or role as the owner, even if it's just 30 minutes per month, it helps enormously. And plan buffer time and don't start on the last day. Set calendar reminders so you're alerted well before deadlines. By the way, in the Ecosystem Premium portal, we send reminders before each reporting deadline. Your only task is to continuously collect your internal data so it's ready in time. You can see how quickly EPR can lead to extra work if you're not careful, and hopefully also how easily it can be avoided. Let's continue with mistake 4. Underestimating labeling requirements. This mistake particularly affects retailers who expand quickly into new markets. Labeling. Across Europe, there are currently different labeling requirements, for example, mandatory labels in countries such as Spain, Portugal, and France. And importantly, the topic is evolving continuously. With the PPWR, new EU regulations are coming, including harmonized labeling requirements and implementation deadlines. In short, what works today may need to be adapted tomorrow. Quick side note here. What the PPWR actually is, why it matters to you, and what to expect this year, we've summarized in these videos. How to avoid this mistake? Don't think only EU-wide. Check labeling requirements for each destination country individually. Keep track of regulatory changes. The easiest way is to subscribe to our free newsletter. And don't worry, we won't spam you. You'll find the sign-up link in the video description. And plan packaging design cycles so you can incorporate adjustments without panic. If you like, our team can also keep you informed about changes and help you interpret labeling requirements or even develop labeling setups when needed. And we've also created a video about mandatory recycling symbols in the EU. Let's move on to the final mistake. Mistake 5. Misclassifying B2B and B2C obligations. The fifth mistake can have a big impact on costs and compliance risks. B2B and B2C sales are not properly distinguished. For B2C sales, registration and licensing are usually clearly required. For B2B, the rules may differ depending on the country. If this is classified incorrectly, one of two things usually happens. Either you do too much, which creates unnecessary costs and complexity, or you do too little, leading to documentation issues, inquiries, or potential compliance problems. How to handle it correctly? Separate sales and quantities clearly between B2B and B2C, including in reports. Check the rules per destination country for B2B packaging or products. And document the logic briefly in writing for your team so everyone understands the approach. And here's a small but shameless note about our own service, which is really about helping you. With the Ecosystem Premium service, a personal key account manager helps you classify obligations for your destination countries and clearly separate B2B and B2C sales. As part of a compliance analysis, we determine your obligations for each country and help you license and register only what you actually need to. Okay, let's get to the conclusion. As you can see, EPR can become quite complex quite quickly, and if handled carelessly, it can turn into a time-consuming and frustrating process. So let's summarize how you can reduce effort and save your nerves. If you keep these 5 points under control, EPR remains manageable and predictable. Categorize correctly per country and waste stream. Collect material data properly. Weigh individually in kilograms with at least 2 decimal places. Meet deadlines, ongoing data collection and plan buffer time. Check labeling requirements per country and monitor changes. And clearly separate B2B and B2C and follow the rules per country. If you'd like, we at Ecosistant can support you in structuring your EPR processes, from identifying obligations to sending reminders and, depending on the package, even handling registrations entirely. This way, staying compliant becomes simple. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us free of charge and without obligation. You'll find the contact form link in the video description. I hope this video was helpful for you. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any EPR updates. That's all for today. See you next time.